तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदादतं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जना। Sri Ramakrishna Kathamrita, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Last time we were discussing the history of the Gospel and how the Holy Mother Shrima Sharada Devi herself listened to Master Mahashaya, the recorder of the Gospel, and approved the recording. So it is vouching or vetting, approving that the recording by Master Mahashaya were the very words of Sri Ramakrishna. So we need not have any more proof of the veracity, correctness, accuracy of Master Mahashaya's recording. Then there's vouching by the Holy Mother Sharada Devi. Swami Vivekananda also, having read some of the English pamphlets, expressed great delight, and in his own inimitable style, where he always goes for 100,000, that's a famous Swamiji's phrase, 100,000. Swamiji says, thanks 100,000, Master, you have hit Ramakrishna at the right point. By which he meant that the recordings have been accurate, undistorted, untarnished, and uncolored by the personality and views of the recorder himself, which Swamiji said is very rare. He gave the example of Socratic dialogues recorded by Plato. And Master Mahashaya himself very hesitantly published them as inspired by Shrima Sharada Devi. And the first volume in Bengali came out during Sri Ramakrishna's birth anniversary 1902. And as you know, Swami Vivekananda passed away in July, 4th of July to be precise, on that year. And he had every occasion to see these English pamphlets. So we do not know exactly whether he saw them and what was his reaction on reading the English pamphlets. Volume after volume slowly came to be published. There are certain key ideas in the Gospel, in the Kathamrita in original, which Sri Ramakrishna repeats often. Those who are exposed to the Gospel of Ramakrishna in English or in any other language in India, or the original recording by in Bengali itself, will be struck by the repetition of Sri Ramakrishna of certain ideas. He was very fond of repeating certain ideas. Kamini Kanchani Maya, attachment to lust and lucre, money, gold, alone is Maya. How many times it is there in the Gospel? Ishwar Labhi Jivana Uddeshya. The aim of human life, the goal of human life, is a realization of God. These are certain pet phrases which Sri Ramakrishna was never tired of repeating. So much so, Hridayara Mukhopadhyay, his very funny nephew, who took so much care of Ramakrishna, without him Ramakrishna would not have survived during the days of his sadhana. At the same time, he gave so much trouble to Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, ওইরকম সেবাও কেউ করেনি, ওইরকম জ্বালাতনও কেউ করেনি. There's nobody has served me as much as Hridaya Ram, and nobody has tormented me and given me trouble as much as Hridaya Ram. In the Leela of Bhagavan, so many kinds of people come, and there are several funny characters in the Gospel of Ramakrishna in Kathamrita, of which Hajra Mahasaya is a very prominent person. Pratap Chandra Hajra was his name. He was a great scholar, but very proud of his scholarship, and always thought he was a great jnani, a realized soul. Sri Ramakrishna sometimes used to get upset about him because he constantly taught the young disciples just the opposite of what Ramakrishna taught. এখানকার সব মত উল্টে দিচ্ছে. Ramakrishna used to funnily and angrily say, he is just saying the opposite of the teachings which I am giving to these young boys. And one day, like a child, he got so upset, he straight went to Bhavatarini. This is one thing you should always notice. Whenever Ramakrishna is upset or angry or elevated or happy, whatever be the mood in which he was, everything was poured on the Mother Kali. This is one lesson all of us have to learn from Sri Ramakrishna and the Holy Mother Sharada. For everything, don't depend on human beings. Human beings, they have their own limitations. They can't remove your sorrow. They can listen, they can sympathize, perhaps, but not all of them. There is a negative phrase in English which says, don't confide your woes and sorrows to others. Why? Half of them don't care, the other half may rejoice. People may say, oh, he is so unhappy. Oh, I know, he needs to be. Oh. Very, very few people are there who are your very own, who want your good, who want your welfare. Parents are one, mother and father, your guru, and for sure, God himself. So make a habit. Swami Yatishwarananda ji, he says in one place, make a habit of talking to your Ishtadevata. You talk to God, as Ramakrishna himself did to Bhavatarini. You may say, oh, in his case it was different. He talked to Bhavatarini and Bhavatarini also talked back to him. It is a two-way conversation. In our case we talk, but God doesn't talk. We can imagine him talking, but we know he doesn't talk. But he says something in our ears, in our hearts, gently, whisperingly, surely, firmly, endearingly, compassionately, lovingly. We can imagine, no harm. You may say it's only an imagination, but why not? The whole world is an imagination, false imagination at that. Why not have some true imagination? Because it elevates you. Pour your heart to God, cry to him, confide in him, tell him all your difficulties, and he shall listen and he shall solve them at the right time according to his will. Believe in this. Ramakrishna repeats this so many times. In the Gospel, one place he says in Bengali, in the Kathamrita, Tini kaan khodke, pipde nupur dhuni shunte pan. He says, he is quick-eared. His ears are extremely sharp. He can listen to anything. And he listens to even the whisper, the footfall of an ant. Imagine an ant, a small creature, and the small feet that ant has. It is walking on the floor, and the touch of the feet on the floor make a small sound, and that also is audible to the Lord, and He hears that touch. So will He not listen to the deep longings and cravings and wailings and outpourings of our hearts? Believe in this. Pour your heart to Him in despair, in anger, in weal and woe. Pour your heart to Him. When the heart is poured out to the Lord, then you feel empty, you feel relieved, and make it a habit. It is not a very difficult habit. Meditation may be difficult, dhyana may be difficult, japa may be difficult, vichara, analysis, viveka may be difficult, discernment may be difficult, but crying to God is not difficult. Why? Because anyway we cry to human beings. We call our friends and relatives. Immediately we call them. You see, I am in desperate sorrow. But if you call on people, your guru, and those who you respect, they shall convey it to God on your behalf, and that's a great help. So you choose people with whom you pour your heart. And if you can do it to God, you are blessed. Make it a habit. Therefore, Sri Ramakrishna used to repeat these sayings again and again so that it gets fixated in our memory and our consciousness. Have sadhu sangha. Repeatedly he used to say. What does it mean? A person who is spiritually oriented, spiritually elevated according to you, and if not elevated, at least he is a genuine walker, a pilgrimage on the path of God. And if you share your views with him, your ideas with him, your sorrow and your joys with him, then he will connect you to God, he will convey this to God, and you feel greatly elevated. That's why people go to great men, to saints and sages, even sadhakas and sadhikas who are like-minded. But extremely careful to choose like-minded people who will give you only spiritual advice. Those who give you advice which is manipulative, which is worldly, will always land you in trouble. So Sri Ramakrishna used to say, pour your heart to him, cry to him with a real cry. Dakar matan take dako. That means call on him with a real call. And one word which stands out in the Kathamrita, repeatedly used by Sri Ramakrishna, is longing or vyakulata. So many yogas have been spoken about: Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga, Kundalini Yoga, Laya Yoga, Asparsha Yoga. So many kinds of yogas have been talked about. And a great scholar wrote, in this age, Sri Ramakrishna taught a unique kind of yoga called Vyakulata Yoga. Vyakulata means longing. Call on God with a real longing. Just like a fish is taken out of water, how much it struggles to go back to water. It can't live, survive without the ambience of water. In exactly the same way, you should feel, your heart should pine, you should crave, long, cry, so that you can live in the company of God. I just can't live without you, O Lord. Great saints and avatars have demonstrated this. Ramakrishna himself in the present age. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 500 years ago, the great avatar, Premier avatar, the incarnation of divine love. That great poem which he wrote, the Stotra, Sikshashtakam, they are just 8 verses. Mahaprabhu was a great scholar of Sanskrit. He wrote a book on Nyaya, Indian logic. And since his guru, although he was very glad that his disciple has written such a wonderful book, it seems commented, I also have a book. After this book, nobody will read mine because this is so wonderfully written. Immediately the disciple, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is said, quietly came and threw that manuscript in the Ganges. I don't want to hurt my guru. These are some very great noble sentiments. We may call it madness, but out of that divine madness come extraordinary geniuses in the spiritual realm. He has a stotra, Sikshashtakam, which bears the mark of his great scholarship in Sanskrit. He says, O Lord Krishna, even a moment's separation from you fills me with so much of sorrow. I can't bear your separation at all. Even a moment's separation appears to be several yugas, several ages, several aeons, several millennia. And tears flow down my cheeks as if it's a rainy season, constantly raining. And the whole world appears to be void, shunya. Without you, I just can't even live and breathe. Yugayatam nimeshena chakshusha pravrishayatam shunyayatam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me. O Govinda, O Lord, O Sri Krishna, Yugayatam nimeshena. 1 minute appears to be a great yuga. Chakshusha pravrishayatam. Continually tears are rolling down my cheeks like torrential rain. Shunyayitam jagat sarvam. The whole world appears to be completely void. How? When? Govinda virahena. Because of the separation from my most beloved Govinda. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was such a great lover of God. Constantly he wanted to be united with God, and he lived and moved in God. Nayanam galadashrudharaya vadanam gadgadaruddhaya gira pulakair nichitam vabukkada tava namagrahane bhavishyati. O Lord, when will that day come? When will that day dawn? When tears will constantly pour down my cheeks? Nayanam galadashrudharaya. Torrential cry will come up from, well up from my heart, like rain. And my throat will get choked with emotion. Nayanam galadashrudharaya vadanam gadgadaruddhaya gira. And pulakair nichitam vabukkada. My entire body, the hairs of my body will stand on the end like a porcupine. It has happened in the case of Radhika, in the case of Mahaprabhu, in the case of Sri Ramakrishna. With so much of bhava and mahabhava, each of the hairs of the body will stand and end with horripilation of joy. When will the day come when I just take your name? I just chant the name of Hari, name of Rama, name of Ramakrishna. The moment I repeat even mantra once, immediate tears roll down. My throat gets choked and I can't speak anymore. And horripilation all over my body. When will that blessed day come, O Lord? These are great prayers, and Sri Ramakrishna used to repeat such sentiments again and again in the Kathamrita. Hridayara Mukhopadhyaya, I was mentioning him just now, hearing Ramakrishna repeating the same thing again and again, he once came to Ramakrishna and said, Mama, आगे को तो बार बार बोल चुके हो. He was a nephew, so he said, Uncle, why is it they're repeating the same thing again and again? So Ramakrishna got very angry. Shala hajar bar bolbo tomar kire, tor kire. In Bengali, shala is a slang word which is used when you scold people, when you get angry with people, when you want to snub them, and sometimes out of affection also. Literally it means brother-in-law. I don't know why brothers-in-law are that bad. In Hindi also this word is used. Sri Ramakrishna used to sometimes use this. But in gentlemanly parlance, society, it is not used in a formal sense. One Swami was using this word. He said, Maharaj, why are you using such a word? Hey, this is a very sacred mantra. Thakur has used this. Thakur has used so many things. This is a funny interpretation. Then he said, I will repeat it 1,000 times. What is that to you? This is a very important philosophical meaning in this. In the Bhagavad Gita also, you will find that Sri Krishna is repeating the same ideas in almost the same language again and again. One simple example, 2nd chapter, talking about the Atman, he said, the Atman cannot be burnt by fire, and water cannot wet the Atman, air cannot dry, and weapons cannot cut it. Nainam chindanti shastrani nainam dahati pavaka nachainam kledayantyapo nashoshayati marutaha. The very next shloka he says, Achedyoyam adahyoyam akledyo shoshaye vacha nitya sarvagatasthanu rachaloyam sanatanaha. 2nd chapter. Achedya means weapons cannot cut it. Nayanam chandanti shastrani is the same meaning as achedya. Nachayanam kledayantyapo means the same thing as akledya. There, the Bhashyakara, Bhagavan Shankara, raises an interesting doubt. He says, why is it the Bhagavan is repeating again and again? In speech, in Alankara Shastra, in oratory, in writing, there is a defect called Punarukti dosha. Punarukti means repeating the same thing again and again. Once you have said something clearly, articulated it perfectly, don't again repeat the same thing. Shankara raises this question and asks, why is it that Bhagavan, he is repeating it almost in identical language, shloka after shloka. Then he says, no, you can't accuse Bhagavan of Pururukti dosha, repetition of the same thing in the same way, because the Atma Tattva, the doctrine of the self, is extremely difficult to understand. It requires a very, very sharp, higher intelligence to be able to penetrate the secret of the Atman. And therefore, Bhagavan wants to impress upon the disciple, here Arjuna, and through him the whole world, the importance of the Atma Tattva, and same thing repeated in different language and different words, and perhaps in the same words, the same ideas are again and again mentioned. In the 9th chapter he says, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Manmana bhava, get absorbed in me, your mind should be absorbed in me. Madbhakto, become my devotee, be devoted to me. Madhyaji, worship me. Nam namaskuru, bow down before me. Your ego should completely become a zero and you should surrender to me. 9th chapter towards the end. Same thing again he repeats in the 18th chapter. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. It's so interesting how the same ideas, almost the same language is being repeated. This cannot be punarukti dosha, but it should be taken as a great compassion of the Lord who wants to again and again repeat the same ideas so that we will be able to absorb them. Our minds are dull, our minds are worldly, our minds are extremely low. Unless a thing is repeated 100,000 times, we will not be able to grasp the meaning and the importance of these ideas. So, Shankara says, this should be taken as the compassion of the Lord so that he wants to impress upon our dull minds the greatness and the glory and the truths of the Atma Tattva, the principle of the Atman. Again in the Kathopanishad, Shankara gives a very interesting insight. Commenting on the famous mantra, Uttishtata Jagrata Prapya Varan Nibodhata, arise, awake, and approaching great men, men of realization, realize this truth. There, commenting on this, Shankara says, Iti Shruti Ranukampaya Aha Matruvat. Na upekshitavyam, don't neglect this doctrine. Oh my child, this is the great doctrine. Come on, wake up from sleep. How long will you be sleeping in this great sleep of avidya? Your ignorance has overshadowed you and you are sleeping ignorantly without any awakening. Awake, awake. So this is the teaching of the Shruti, of the Upanishads, of the Veda. How? Iti Shrutihi Anukampaya Aha Matruvat. Like a kind mother with great compassion, the Shruti, the mantra, the Upanishad, the Rishi is telling humanity, telling all of us, Matruvat, like a mother, Anukampaya, with great compassion. The Shruti, the Shastras, the Gurus, the avatars are like mothers. They may have male body, but they are actually mothers. Girish Chandra Ghosh used to say, I look upon Sri Ramakrishna as my mother. Mahapurush Shivanandaji also said this. When Swami explained it to me, because Sri Ramakrishna could not tolerate 3 words. Baba, Karta, Guru. Baba means father. Karta, who is the person who is ruling over, the ruler, the controller. Guru, the preceptor or the teacher. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, I am nobody, Lord is the Karta, Bhagavan himself is the Karta, he is the Father, Gatir Bharta, Prabhu Sakshi, Nivasa Sharanam Surat, Prabhava Pralayasthanam Nidhanam, Bijam Avyayam, Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan says, I am the father, I am the mother, I am the Pitamaha, I am also the grandfather. Mata Dhata Pitamaha, Vedyam Pavitra Monkara Riksama Yajurevacha. So Sri Ramakrishna never wanted to be called Baba, although Mathuranath Vishwas used to call him Baba all the time. And sannyasins, sages are also called Baba for everybody. Karta, he is the ruler. Ramakrishna never thought himself like that. And therefore, he never considered himself the Guru. But now he has become the Guru Maharaj. That is the beauty. So, when Swami explained it to me, if he does not like to be called Baba, then what should we call him? Call him the Mother. He is the Mother Kali, as Holy Mother Sharada Devi said. When Sri Ramakrishna passed away, Mother cried, "Ogo Kali, amage chede kothay gele." Oh Mother Kali, where did you go, leaving me behind? The strange relationship between Sri Ramakrishna and the Holy Mother Sharada Devi, each calling the other as Kali. These are some great truths which you have to meditate upon, think about, get absorbed in this thought, so elevating. Sri Ramakrishna worshipped Ma Sharada as Mother Kali in the Shodashi Puja day, and Sharada Devi also in turn called Sri Ramakrishna as Mother Kali. One day when Holy Mother Sharada was gently pressing the feet of Sri Ramakrishna doing Padaseva, Sri Ramakrishna asked her, then she asked Sri Ramakrishna, how do you think of me? What is your attitude towards me? Then Sri Ramakrishna said, Je garbhadharini ma amage janma diyechen nahabat khanaয় আছেন, যিনি মন্দিরে আছেন ভবতারিণী রূপে, তিনি এখানে সামনে বসে আমাকে পদসেবা করছেন। তোমাকে সাক্ষাৎ কালী রূপে আমি দেখি। That mother who has given birth to me biologically, Chandramani Devi, who is living in the Allahabad, at that time she used to live there in Dakshineshwar with the sun, and the Mother Kali, who is the deity in the temple, and you, who are just in my front, are the same. I look upon you as Mother Kali. Ramakrishna looking upon Sharada Devi as Mother Kali, and Sharada Devi looking upon Ramakrishna as the Mother Kali. Such a divine relationship. So the whole conjugal relationship between the husband and wife completely metamorphosed, transformed into a divine relationship. This is an example in the modern age. So Sri Ramakrishna is the mother of all. Iti shrutihi anukampaya aha matruvat. In another place, commenting in his Bhashya on the Kathopanishad mantra, Yathodakam shuddhe shuddham masiktam tadrigeva bhavati evam muner vijanata atma bhavati gautama. Just like pure water, if it is poured into another vessel of pure water, they become one. You can't distinguish between the water which is already there in the vessel and the water is now newly being poured. Similarly, when the Atman, the self of a man of realization, gets merged in Brahman, they become one, Atman and Brahman. There is a very similar statement in Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra. We read it at college. As water is in water. That's the statement by Shakespeare. As water is poured into water, they become one. The Atman and Brahman become one. In his commentary, Bhashya on this mantra, Bhagavan Shankara, Bhashyakara says, Matra Pitri Sahasrebhya Paramahiteshana Vedena Yadupadrishtam the Adaraniyam Mityartha Shantadarpaihi Adaraniyam Mityartha. Shantadarpaihi, Darpa means arrogance, egoism. A sadhaka or a person who is pursuing the spiritual path, first he should crush his egoism. Darpa should be crushed. Shanta darpaihi, adaraniyam. This should be taken serious note of, pursued, respectfully accepted and followed. What is that? The statement in the Upanishad. Who says this? The Upanishad, the Shruti. How does it say it? Matra pitra sahasrebhyaha paramahitaishana vedena upadishtam. What a wonderful statement. With so much of concern and feeling and emotion. Shankara says, Bhagavan Shankaracharya states, more compassionate, more kind, more loving, more affectionate than 1,000 mothers and fathers. Matra pitra sahasrebhyaha paramahitaishana. Hita means welfare. More concerned, more caring, more loving, more kind, more compassionate than thousands of fathers and mothers. Is this Shruti, this Upanishad, this Veda tells you, please accept this. Please follow this. This has been the refrain of all the avatars. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to say, Ek baar Harinam kar, tor paaye podchi Harinam kar. I bow down to you, I'll touch your feet. Please chant the name of Hari. Be blessed by chanting the name of God. That is the compassion. Swami Brahmananda once said, কি আনন্দ ভিতরে আছে দেখ একবার, একবার ভিতরে যে ঢুকো, অন্তর জগতে কি আনন্দ আছে, আনন্দের হাট যেন বসে আছে। চেষ্টা কর, যদি কিছু না হয় আমাকে এসে দুটো চড় মারবি। He says, please look within. See what a treasure house of joy is there within. A mart of joy, as it were, dwells there. And taste this great joy within. Try a little. You can, you shall. If you don't get any taste inwardly, come and slap me. These are the statements of Swami Brahmananda. So much of compassion, and with tears in his eyes he says, please, please, once take the name of Hari. The appeal of the Kathamrita is this. Again and again he repeats. His only aim being how to elevate the minds of men and women to a level in which they should be absorbed in God. Dobo 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 roop sagare amar mon. Very famous song. Ramakrishna was very fond of this. Doob thou, doob thou, doob thou. Come on, go within, go within. Dive deep in the ocean of God's beauty. The translation in the English. If you dive deep, how much can you get? Simply floating on the surface will not do. He used to exhort his devotees, his disciples. How much of joy is there within? What compared to that, what is this ordinary joy of the world? Vishaya madhu tuchha holo kamadi kushum sakale mojlo amar manubhramara shama pada nil kamale কালী পদ নীল কমলে শ্যামা পদ নীল কমলে মজলো আমার মনুভ্রমরা. Kamalakanta's song, Ramakrishna used to sing it very often in the Kathamrita. You will find, oh my mind, you are like a bee, Bhramara. Why are you going and wasting time in ordinary flowers of the Vishaya Sukha, sense pleasures? What joy can you get from them? Now go. Mother Shyama, Mother Kali, the Divine Mother, her lotus feet is like a beautiful blooming flower. Sip the honey from the lotus feet of the Divine Mother and be blessed. Be intoxicated with the love of God. Sri Ramakrishna said, what will he achieve by floating in the surface? Kabir Das, the famous saint, he has a beautiful doha in Hindi, which we read in school. जिन ढूंढा तिन पाइया गहरा पानी पैठ मैं बोरा डूबन डरा रहा किनारे बैठ. Whosoever dived deep, they got wonderful precious gems. I, Bora, mad, foolish, stupid, was terribly afraid of diving, and therefore I was sitting on the bank getting nothing. Sri Ramakrishna's famous phrase, doob thou, dive deep in the ocean of God's beauty. Doob de re man kali bole. Very famous song by Ramprasad. Ramakrishna used to sing often in the Kathamrita. Taking the name of Kali, O mind, go, dive deep. And so many Ratana manika kato pore ache shei jole. তুমি দম সামর্থ্যে এক ডুবে যাও মিলবে রতন ফলে ফলে. রতন মাণিক্য কত পড়ে আছে সেই জলে. So much of ratna, so many gems and rubies and precious stones are all there found in this ocean. Dive deep and all of them you will be yours. The idea is, we have forgotten our real nature, Satchidananda Swarupa, where existence absolute, knowledge absolute, bliss absolute. That is our real nature. And it is just here. You don't have to go far. Just dive deep, dive deep. Ramakrishna used to say, be alone and look at Mother Kali within. যতনে হৃদয়ে রেখো আদরিণী শ্যামা মাকে. Very famous song. Again, Ramakrishna used to sing. Jotane hridaya rekho. Keep the Divine Mother in your heart, and you and Mother alone will be there. The external world will completely become absent. Let us remember, these are not mere stories, they are not mere words. They are actual realizations of great men, and it is possible by you and me and everybody, every human being, to realize this divine truth. We often think it is not possible by us. It is possible. This is a great obstacle to spiritual life, to realization, to feel that is asambhavana. There are three obstacles spoken of in Vedanta: sandeha bhavana, asambhavana, viparita bhavana. Sandeha bhavana, doubting. Is it right? We can't do it. I don't know whether these truths are still relevant. So Ramakrishna's days may be different. Now in the present day, I don't think these truths are really relevant. Sandeha, doubt, suspicion. When a great man says it, when a saint, believe it. That's called Shraddha. Shraddhasva, Tata, Shraddhasva. Ashtavakramani says to Janaka, Tata, my child. Tata means father, dad. Just like a child or a grandchild calls the father dad, Tata, the father also sometimes calls the child Tata. Like in Indian languages, Baba, Baba, That is the statement by a child calling the father. The father also says, Kire Baba, tu to khachish na to dekchi? Baba means affection. My child. Tata, my child. Shraddhasva, Shraddhasva. Believe, believe. Have faith. So Ramakrishna says, it is possible. Sandeha bhavana. Then second is viparita bhavana, asambhavana. That means you think it is not possible. It is very difficult. Maybe it is true, maybe one can try, but not for me. I am a very ordinary person. I am a householder. I am a housewife. I am an ordinary person in the household. Or sadhus will say, I am a very ordinary sadhu. I cannot exert that much, I cannot realize. Asambhavana. It is impossible for me. That is a great obstacle. Don't think like that. It is possible for you now. This is the challenge of the rishis in the Upanishads. The last verse of the Kathopanishad. Yama, the Brahma Vidya Acharya, tells the qualified disciple Nachiketa, O Nachiketa, you can realize this, and Nachiketa did realize. Mrityu proktam Nachiketo talabdhva vidyametam yoga vidhim chakrishnam brahma prapto virajo bhut vimrityuh anyopyevam yo vidadhyatmameva. Remarkable verse, last line, punch line. Having realized this truth, her hearing it from the great Acharya, Brahma Vidya Acharya Yama, Nachiketa realized this truth. What did he hear? Brahma Vidyam Yoga Vidhim cha Krishnam. Krishnam in total, complete. Complete Yoga Vidhi and Brahma Vidya. Vidya and Yoga are two important words. Vidya means science. Padartha Vidya, Prani Vidya, etc. we say for physics and botany, etc., zoology, etc. Udbhija Vidya, botany. Brahma Vidya is the science of Brahman. But what is the technology? Engineering, Yoga Vidhi. That's why the Bhagavad Gita is both Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra. Om Tat Sadati Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Sankhya Yogo Nama Tritiyodhyayaha Karma Yogo Nama Tritiyodhyayaha and so on. What is Bhagavad Gita? It is the science of Brahman, Brahma Vidya. It is the technology of Yoga, Yoga Shastra, and the dialogue between man and God, Krishna Arjuna Samvada. Similarly, the Bhagavad Gita Upanishad, Brahma Vidya, Yoga Vidhim cha Krishnam, Brahma Prapto Virajo Abhut. Having realized this Brahman, having attained this Brahman, he become Viraja. Jyotiraham Viraja Vipapma Bhuyasam Swaha. Viraja Homa mantras, which are there in the Narayana Upanishad, Mahanarayana Upanishad. I am Viraja, free from Raja, completely blemishless, pure, of the essence of the light of consciousness. Virajo Bhut, Vimrityuhu, crossed beyond death. He cut across the wheel of birth and death. Then last line, the very last line, Anyopyevam yo vidadhyatmameva. Anybody else also will realize the same truths in the same way, provided he follows the same procedure. This is science. Why Vedanta is science is because it's a challenge thrown to the rishis, to the modern world. Do not think it was realized by somebody in India ages ago. You can also realize these truths now, here, anywhere, anytime, anybody. Just like in science, a great discovery is made in USA, United States of America. The challenge of the scientist The same results can be obtained in any laboratory, anywhere in the world, in Europe, in France, in Germany, in Italy, in India, in Japan, anywhere, by any scientist, provided he follows the same procedure. If a protocol is given to you, a procedure is given to you, follow it, and you shall get the same result. It is beyond time and space. This is the challenge. So Sri Ramakrishna says it is possible. Asambhavana is a great obstacle which should be overcome. And the third is Viparita Bhavana. Having been convinced that it is possible, having faith that you can do it, and it is real and doable, realizable, but you still behave as if you are most ordinary, as if you are still bound to the world. I say I am the Atman, I am infinite. At the same time, he is my enemy, that man insulted me, I don't like him. So many kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, moha, atsarya, shadripus, anger and jealousy and lust, and so many enemies are coming and then torturing me. But I say I am the infinite, I say I am a child of God. How can you at the same time believe that I am small, I am limited? How can you say I am lustful, I am angry? You can't say this. Viparita Bhavana. The three obstacles, Sandeha Bhavana, Asambhavana, Viparita Bhavana. And the scriptures say, the Acharyas, Vedanta Acharyas have said, there is one famous book by Vasudeva Yatindra called Laghu Vasudeva Mananam. There he says, these three obstacles to the realization of the Vedantic wisdom can be removed respectively by Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. This is the procedure given in the Upanishads. That's why Sri Ramakrishna in the Kathamrita says, Pratime Shuntahaya, Koto Shunechigo. People think I have not read any book. I may not have read anything, but I have listened, heard. Just like all of you, with so much difficulties, spending some time, taking out time from your work, you are listening to this exposition on the Kathamrita, Shravana. First listen. Sri Ramakrishna repeated it as Shuntahaya. Shravana removes Sandeha Bhavana. Then you have to reflect on the meaning. Sri Ramakrishna says in the Kathamrita, Dharana kora chai. Shuddhu shunle hobe na, dharana kora chai. Mere listening will not do, mere hearing will not do. You have to assimilate them. You have to understand them deeply. How? Manana, reflection. You think about this. What does Ramakrishna mean by this? What is the meaning of this verse in the Kathopanishad? What is this meaning of this shloka in the Gita? Manana. Go on reflecting. After Shravana, listening deeply. Manana, deep reflection. Then Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana is a very interesting word. Complete absorption in what you have heard and understood. So by constantly thinking about it, you cross over from the mental level manomaya to the vijnanamaya, in which you get totally absorbed. And you forget about the outside world and you get absorbed. It's a kind of samadhi. You get a higher levels of consciousness through nididhyasana, and the viparita bhavana goes away. Shravana, listening, manana, reflection, nididhyasana, deep absorption. These three remove respectively the obstacles, pratibandhaka, called Sandeha Bhavana, Asambhavana and Viparita Bhavana. This is the meaning of why Sri Ramakrishna goes on repeating the same thing again and again, so that our doubts get cleared, so that you come to believe, so that you get shraddha in the words, when repeatedly heard, Shraddha is astikya buddhi. Knowing that these truths are true, you listen and say, yes, right, theek, this is true. Sri Ramakrishna says, Ishvari vastu shab avastu. Ishvalabhi jivana uddesha. God alone is real and everything else is false, unreal, like a shadow. That means constantly changing. You are chasing only a shadow. And the realization of God, realization of Atman, realization of the ultimate truth is the only purpose of human existence. The four Chatussutris of Sri Ramakrishna, with which I'll end today's talk. Chatussutri are the four sutras of the Brahma Sutra, Vedanta Sutras, by Badarayana Vyasa. Vedanta Sutras are called Vedanta Darshana, one of the Prasthana Trayas of Vedanta. Prasthana Traya, three canons of Vedanta. Shruti Prasthana, which is the Upanishad. Smriti Prasthana, which is the Bhagavad Gita. And Nyaya Prasthana, which is Brahma Sutra. Shruti, Smriti, Nyaya. And in the Ramakrishna tradition we believe, as Swami Premishananda it seems once said, Sri Ramakrishna represents the Shruti, Holy Mother Sharada represents the Smriti, and Swami Vivekananda represents the Nyaya. Whatever Sri Ramakrishna said in the Upanishad, there is no logical explanation, just throws out the ultimate truth, like the Shruti Upanishad does. And Holy Mother exemplifies a practical aspect, how to make it possible and practicable in everyday life. And Swami Vivekananda rationally expounded, posited, and enunciated this doctrine of the Atman and Brahman and God, universally acceptable. So Shruti, Smriti and Nyaya. The first four sutras of the Badarayana Vyasa's Brahma Sutras or Vedanta Sutras are very famous, called Chatussutri, the four sutras. So we also can think of the Chatussutri of the Ramakrishna Kathamrita. Ramakrishna Kathamrita is a great scripture for us. It's one of the extraordinary scriptures of the modern world, given by Bhagavan himself in the form of Sri Ramakrishna. So what are the four sutras? I will enunciate the sutras in Bengali and give you the translation. ईश्वर आछेन प्रथम सूत्र, ईश्वर के देखा जाए द्वितीय सूत्र, ईश्वर दर्शने मनुष्य जीवनेर उद्देश्य तृतीय सूत्र, दुर्लभ मनुष्य जीवन पेये এই জন্মে ঈশ্বর লাভ যদি না করা হয় জীবনটা বৃথা চতুর্থ সূত্র। The first sutra, God is. To believe that is also not easy. To believe that God actually exists, He can be talked to, He can be related to, and He can be seen, He can be realized, as Ramakrishna himself realized. And so many of his disciples, including his Shakti Sharada, realized, and innumerable saints and sages over millennia upon millennia realized in India and elsewhere in the whole world, it is possible. God is. First sutra. Second sutra, He can be seen and realized. Third sutra, seeing, vision of God, a realization of God is the only aim of human life. Fourth sutra, having attained this rare human birth, having been born as a human being, if one does not realize or have a vision of God in this very life, human life is a waste. Kenopanishad also says the same thing. Iha cheda vedi tatha satyamasti na chediha vedin mahati vinashtihi. If you can realize this ultimate truths of Brahman or Atman in this very life, then you have attained the real truth, the purpose of human life. If you have not done that in this very life, Mahati Vinashtihi, oh alas, great will be your loss. What is the Mahati Vinashti? The disaster. Again you will be caught in this Janma Marana Chakra, in this wheel of birth and death. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani Jathare Shayanam. Shankara's famous Bhajagovindam. Again and again he will going back and forth. Somehow or other in this life, we have got a human birth. We have got a reasonably good mind which can think of God, and we have come to the feet of one of the greatest incarnations of the present age, Avatar Varishta, Sri Ramakrishna, his Shakti, Srima Sharada, his Arjuna, the Nararshi Narayana, Swami Vivekananda, his beloved son Rakhal, and a host of other disciples, monastic and lay, and up to today, the Guru Parampara, the great Shakti power is flowing. And if we cannot and do not feel inclined to dip into this holy Ganges of Ramakrishna Ganga and float in it and reach the Brahmananda Sagara, the aim of human life, our life will be a waste. This is Sri Ramakrishna's fundamental message in this Ramakrishna Kathamrita. I am not saying this is Swami Vivekananda. Last paragraph of the My Master lecture. In that lecture, Swami Vivekananda says, the message of Ramakrishna to the modern world is this: realize your true nature, attain spirituality and be blessed. This is the only purpose of human life. Om Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukampadhrita Vigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namamaha. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. May this entire exercise, this Vangmayi Puja, worship of Sri Ramakrishna through speech and the worship which you have done through listening to this, may all this entire exercise of speaking and listening be offered and to Sri Ramakrishna as a great sacrifice and offering. Om Tat Sat, Om that existence.